Hello and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about the Blue Jays. I'm your host, Nicholas Blaylog.
And I'm your host, Adam Peddle. And today, we finally have something going on in the free agent world, and that was yesterday's non-tender deadline. We have some people who have joined the free agent market that we could possibly scoop up, or anyone could in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, there was one or two names that I was like, kind of surprised about. Even on our end, actually, there was a name that I was kind of surprised about that we're gonna talk about. But before we get into that, guys, make sure to hit the notification button, subscribe, comment down below, become a Patreon member. Once again, shout out to our currently 3 Patreon members that we have going on right now, and just be part of the community.
Absolutely.
So, dude, this is the first, not the first thing. I think I heard some rumors like, who signed someone yesterday? Somebody signed somebody or something.
There's been a bunch of kind of minor signings, very small, a couple minor trades too. It was like Brewers, Dodgers made a very tiny trade. It's all very, not really newsworthy.
But we're hoping that this gets the ball rolling.
Yes. There's all these small kind of interactions going. I think everyone is still testing the market. Everyone's still trying to see what it looks like.
Exactly, and also too, these teams, now that we've had this non-tendering process, and for those of you who don't know, basically what this means is that any players that had an arbitration on their contract, they could have been picked up, and their teams decided not to or to do that. So, for instance, Teoscar Hernandez, he got tendered. Yeah, he got tendered. Whereas one of the guys that we had, Travis Shaw, did not.
Yeah, exactly. And when they get tendered, it means they're not signed to a deal right away. They still have to negotiate a contract within a range depending on how they did in the previous year. So Teoscar obviously did well. So he's up for a little bit more money than expected.
And what his range, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I think you were talking about it yesterday. It was somewhere in between 2.5 and 5.5 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly. So, realistically, based on what he did last year, I would imagine it to be closer to that top end rather than 2.5.
Exactly.
He's an idiot.
Seriously. But if they can't negotiate, then what they have to do is a third-party arbitrator has to then decide the contract.
Yeah, based on what you did last year, this is what we think. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Cool.
Yeah. So,
tell us about it, dude.
Let's get into these non-tenders. So there's a couple names that pop out on the market, that these people could be serviceable and impact players for some teams. And the first one and the biggest one that stands out to me is Eddie Rosario from the Minnesota Twins.
That, I think, is by far the best player that was non-tendered yesterday, like head and tails above anyone else. He was literally receiving MVP votes, surprisingly.
Really?
He got one or two. But last year, this guy hit for 257, an on-base percentage of 316, and a slugging of 476. That's following a year, a full season, where he hit 276, 300 on base percentage, and 500 slugging. And in that year, he had 32 home runs. And in this year, he had 13. So it doesn't seem to be any drop off whatsoever in the power, in the contact. I mean, a little bit in the contact for the following year, but shortened season. It seemed to me like he was very much still in a place of being a very good baseball player. Yeah,
lots of power. But the one thing is, he can't walk. So that's the only knock to him, is that his on base is a little bit smaller. However, no one's going to be complaining if you're hitting 34 home runs a year, can't complain.
Exactly. And if your slugging is, right around that 500 mark, I don't give a shit how much you walk,
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, let Biggio handle.
Exactly. That's his specialty. And your specialty is very clearly, hitting for a pretty good contact and for pretty good power, which he did, and I should mention as well, he had 109 RBIs in 2019, and he had 42 in 2020.
That's impressive.
That's very good,
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised. He is 29 years old, and I believe his arbitration range was somewhere between 8 and 12 million, and I was kind of surprised that the Twins didn't pick him up. A little bit of a shocker. They think that his value is a little bit lower than that.
I'm kind of shocked too, actually, because for a player that's done this, now 2 seasons in a row, clearly been contributing on your team. That seems to be a very reasonable price in my mind.
That's what makes me skeptical. Like, what are the Twins' organization plans? Like, are they trying to get rid of some contracts? Are they trying to retool and repurpose some guys? Or what is their plan? Because I thought they would. I projected them that they wouldn't be a contender, or not like a strong contender as they were last year. I thought they'd go down a bit on the rankings, but I thought they'd at least try. Try to bring back some good pieces like an Eddie Rosario.
Well, from what I read, from what I heard, it seemed like they were really shopping around Eddie Rosario.
Yeah.
And no one was bringing them up on it. And the reasoning of this article, I wish I had it off the top of my head so I could shout it out. But, the article was saying that no one wanted to pick up his arbitration, which also shocked me. I mean,
seriously.
Like, this guy would be making, with his arbitration year, literally, I think, less than Randall Grichuk, and is clearly doing very good stuff.
But you know what the thing is, too? I just thought, like, what could be a reason? And I think all teams are still waiting to sign the big outfielders. Like, I think Eddie Rosario is good. However, there is other outfielders like, a George Springer, a Michael Brantley, an Ozuna that are still out there that teams want. So, but if you grab Rosario, it's like, okay, you're basically saying this is the outfielder. So I think some teams are still shopping.
That's true.
That would make sense.
That is true. And I guess, also maybe there's a factor coming into this about, COVID and money right now and not wanting to pick up like a $10 million contract on what would be, and I don't mean this in a rude way, a second place prize to some of those other guys.
He is absolutely a second place prize. Like, literally, if we don't get Springer or Zuna or any of those 3 guys, like Eddie Rosario, maybe,
I'm going to be honest, dude. Like, based on these numbers,
Did you take him?
Absolutely, I would take him. Absolutely. And considering that, now he's been non-tendered, so realistically, the Twins and a lot of other teams that weren't willing to trade for this guy are saying, you're not even worth, $8.5 million per year. Wow. Like, what is he going to get paid? I don't know, but I can imagine at this point, it's probably not going to be massive.
Yeah, but that actually reminds me, or I just thought that's kind of crazy because this whole offseason we're trying to figure out what does the market look like, and if a player like Eddie Rosario isn't worth $8 to $12 million this year, what are the contracts going to look like? And that kind of scares me that we're going to even prolong the free agent signing even further.
Exactly.
Because the players are going to want traditional money like they were last year.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's going to happen, or whoever's going to get the players are the ones that are going to be able to cough up the dollars.
Yeah, I completely agree. And this is super interesting just because Eddie Rosario is very clearly an immediate impact player. And to not be willing to shell out literally, $10 million for this guy, I think it's pretty shocking, and I'd be super duper happy if the Blue Jays picked this guy up. I think he would be a great, cheap second option to a George Springer. That would leave our options open to next season or even this offseason, continue to buy. And when you put up 109 RBIs, 32 home runs, and 91 runs scored with a 500 slugging, that ain't so bad as a second place prize.
No, that's pretty good. I definitely agree. He's going to play for someone, but who will it be? We don't know. And how much? That's what the market's going to find out.
Yes.
So there's some other...
Our guys?
Our guys? Yeah. Let's talk about our guys a little bit. Because this one, these 2 players... One of them, I was like, get rid of this guy, and that's Travis Shaw. I mean, look, I was interested in Shaw coming in last year, because, look, we weren't going to buy anyone last year. We were literally filling in holes, and we weren't signing anyone big other than Ryu. And Travis Shaw had the potential to, bounce back, and he didn't. And I think it's very clear at the age of 30 that his career is coming to an end.
Yeah, he had a short stint in the majors of being, pretty good. I remember looking back at his numbers when he was considered good, and it truly was just power. There still wasn't any contact associated with that power, and I'm talking out of my ass here, but some of those best years he was hitting for 250-esque around that area,
30 home runs.
That was what it was. That's what made him come off the page a little bit more. But he's not he's still hitting for a bad average, worse than some of those good years. And he's not necessarily bringing along that added power.
No.
He's bringing along a lot of Ks.
Yeah.
I straight up, dude, like before this even happened, like for the past like 2 months or so, just assumed that he was off the team.
Oh yeah, I never assumed.
No disrespect to Travis Shaw, but I assumed that he was no longer with us anymore.
No, I absolutely agree. Like I don't think he was even coming. Like someone even brought his name up in a DM for us on Instagram. Like, oh, like, you know, we'll have Shaw playing there, and I was like,
no,
whoa, who is this man? Like, you were talking home runs and contact. Well, he had none of that last year.
No.
239 average, which actually was better than his year before.
Yes,
so
yes, it
step
was.
up.
Yes,
However, you need to hit the home runs, only 6 last year. So
and that's the thing, you know, like it's better than his last year. 239 sucks.
Yeah,
that's a really bad average. So you had better give me a crap load of power if to even warrant something like that.
239 is good if you're Jose Bautista and you're hitting 40 home runs a year.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like you got to back that up with literally 40 home runs. Like the way that I look at it, man, is like it's like a scale. You know, like you have like a chart here.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you got the power on this side and you got the contact on this side. If your contact is this low, then your power's got to be this high,
really high.
You know?
You
so it's like you got to hit that median line right there, and he was very clearly it's all out of whack.
Yeah.
We don't need Travis Shaw.
We don't need him because apparently, you know, Montoya thought he could bat third. I'm never gonna let this go. I'm never gonna let this go.
Don't let it go. Don't ever let it go, bro. Don't ever let it go.
Yeah. I hope you all realize the mistakes that were made last year with him in the 3 spot.
Who else we got? Because we got another guy, and I was a little bit surprised about this. But at the same point, I'm not necessarily like.
I think there's good reasoning behind it, and that's, you know, our relief pitcher AJ Cole, the big right-hander.
Yeah,
you know, he just put in perspective, guys, why we're a little bit surprised, because he actually had a good year last year in that setup position.
Very nice.
A 3.09 ERA, and you know I thought for sure we would at least tender him because this was the arbitration. It was between 800,000 and 1 million. That is mega cheap.
That's really, really cheap.
Mega cheap. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are that they are trying to get some flexibility on their roster, on their 40-man roster right now. They're thinking to themselves, holy crap, guys, we have a lot of relief pitchers right now. In fact, way too many.
Yeah.
We need to free up some space so we can like make some different moves, make a different team makeup right now. And I think that's literally what it comes down to is we have so many guys who we can cycle through at that spot, at that position, that we just truthfully don't need AJ Cole right now.
Yeah.
They did come out and say maybe, you know, as time goes on in this offseason, we might still be interested in him.
Yeah.
We might still offer something up. And in that case, like, I think that that's good. Like, it's funny. They didn't say shit about Travis Shaw.
No. I think Travis Shaw even knew he was done.
Yeah, well, dude, like, we're literally all offseason talking about Colton Wong. We're talking about DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. It's over.
Yeah, you're done,
It's over. But AJ Cole, they still seem to be interested. But I guess right now, they want more flexibility, and that's what it comes down to.
And I'm so down because look, like you want more space in your 40-man roster, like, and I want, you know, every single year for like the next 3 years for our prospects to start coming up and getting a shot. You know, you still got, you know, a bunch of pitchers in our minor league system that have a chance to break the team. You know, I don't know when the deadline is. And I know like the pipeline says, you know, they have projected ETAs and when they're going to arrive to the MLB, but like Simeon Wood Richardson and like Jordan Groshans and Austin Martin and like all these other people that could, even some people that we're not even talking about that are in the lower like bottom 30 of the top 30 are could make their debut. And this gives the whole organization some flexibility, like you were saying. And you know what? I'm down. And let's say if we realize down the line we don't have anyone to fill up in our bullpen, like maybe like we are like looking a little like slim, then yeah, sure, grab AJ Cole. I don't know how much it would be. Like I guess it'd be super cheap because you pass down 800,000 to 1 million. Because
here's the thing, bro. Also too, just to comment on the MLB Pipeline, Jordan Groshans says that's bullshit.
Yeah,
the ETAs. But I remember last year we were talking about it and we were saying for a lot of these pitchers, a lot of these relief pitchers, Because when we came into last year, we didn't have any relief pitchers. We had Ken Giles. That's who we knew.
Yeah.
And he was dead. You know, he was injured. He was gone, right? So we were like, uh-oh, what's going to happen? And we talked about it, and we said, we think that this is a great opportunity to have tryouts.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what they did.
Yes.
And we did try them out, and we surprisingly got a lot of hits. Mm-hmm. This is a good problem to have. We have a lot of hits, but eventually we gotta funnel it down, pick a couple guys that we trust. And I think that what this is saying is we trust Dolis, we trust Anthony Bass. We are going to let these guys take the reins, and we're going to make some room for our other young guys to cycle throughout position players.
Don't forget Jordan Romano.
You
got Thomas Hatch.
You're right.
You got Merriweather. Like, you got literally many guys.
So many guys right now, and they're basically saying, we trust them. We want these guys. Like, I really think that Dolis is going to step into a very large role coming into this season. I think that's what this is gearing up to do. And we just simply don't need AJ Cole right now. As good as he
was good.
Yeah,
you know?
He was very good.
Yeah, totally, man. Like, this is exciting. Mm-hmm. this little burst of information.
Would you say that it might be a good idea to trade one of these relief pitchers? You know.
To trade like a Hatch or a Romano?
Potentially, you know, depending on, because I know that we've been involved in a lot of different trades, you know, with a bunch of different guys, like for instance Lindor. We haven't heard a lot about Lindor recently, but in a deal to ship off one of these guys,
like maybe one. Mm-hmm. Maybe one, you know, attach one to the deal and then like another prospect or whoever it might be in that deal. Like, I wouldn't want to trade obviously like all of them. We have enough. We have a surplus, so like we can trade one, maybe two, if depending on what we're getting in return. So, yeah, that would be probably it for me, because I don't want to be shipping them all off and then have no one. You know, if anything, a nice route would have been sign AJ Cole back, then use other guys as trading pieces, or even AJ Cole as a trading piece.
Potentially, I was just thinking that because let's say we did ship off one or two of those guys. Well, now there's AJ Cole just sitting on the market for super duper cheap.
Yeah,
and we can just pick him up, and we know that we have a rapport with this man and that he enjoys Toronto.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's at all anything of what they're thinking, but clearly they think that we have guys that we can trust if they're willing to cut a guy who just had a 3.09 ERA.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So that's what we did. We also got the Chicago Cubs kind of doing what a lot of people expected them to do as far as cutting down the contracts.
They cut 3 guys. They cut Schwarber and 2 others. I think it's Almora and another guy. Off the top of my head,
I'm not sure. I read it. I forget the name.
They're both people I have no idea.
The big one though is Schwarber, because obviously he was such a influential piece in their World Series run when they went and they got that chip. So that is. Do we have any interest in Kyle Schwarber?
Maybe a tiny bit. I mean, he's 27 years old.
Still young.
He hits for power. Like last year, he still hit 11 home runs, even though his average was really bad at 188. Mm-hmm. But he's hit 94 home runs in 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And that includes 2020. So that's really, really good. So, however, there were talks that Kyle Schwarber would be looking more as a DH option because he was in the NL. He had to play outfield. And there was he moved from catcher to outfield, and he's more looking like a DH kind of hitter. So I don't know if he would be the best fit. He's an option for sure. He's like a plan C.
I personally don't think he's a great fit for our team.
Yeah.
I do think that, if I was another team right now, I would be very happy to just throw a cheap dart on Kyle Schwarber.
Absolutely.
And just have him kind of cycle there, be a DH for a couple games, see how he's doing, because this is a guy that can very quickly get very hot for a couple weeks, win you some ball games, and then he can cool off. And we saw that with his 188 average, but, married with 11 home runs. And,
Absolutely. And then the last guy, this guy's interesting, and that's David Dahl from the Colorado Rockies.
Right.
Another outfielder at 26 years old. His career is 297 average, and with a 346 on base and a 521 slugging, and in 240 games,
521 slugging, eh?
521 slugging. And here's why: because in 240 games, he hit 38 home runs, which is, I know, not the best amount, but he's also dealing with a lot of injuries.
Well, yeah, because I know both of us, and this is fantasy aside, just on a baseball point, but also fantasy. We have always been pretty high on David Dahl. I remember I had him on one of my fantasy squads, and I started watching him as a player, and I was like, holy crap, this guy is severely underrated right now. We never hear enough about David Dahl, and the reason is because he's never on the field long enough for us to hear enough about him.
Yeah.
When he is on the field, he is a very, very, very good baseball player. But as of right now, you cannot trust this man to make it through a season without, at least forfeiting like half to a third of the games.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he just can't stay on the field. And, last year he had a drop and his average was 183. Oof. So the whole thing was this guy, when healthy, can hit. But last year, when he was healthy, he suffered.
Yeah.
So that's intriguing. He's still very young at 26 years old, so it's an option for sure. Again, another option, plan C, D, down the line. If you have to take a shot and you really want an outfielder, sure. However, I think for the Jays, it's kind of like we have guys, arguably similar to David Dahl in terms of risk-reward value. And like the only piece I'd really want to add in the outfield right now is someone like a George Springer or a Michael Brantley, someone who can really impact a team.
Yeah, I think that somebody is going to get very lucky with David Dahl because a team's going to have a spot kind of just open on their outfield, and then they're going to bring him in, and he's one of those guys where like I said, if he can stay healthy for a year, I do think he's going to be very good. I think he will bounce back from last season. But the question is, can he stay healthy? And right now, we're not necessarily at a point where we want to toss that dart and put money into a guy who's not going to return the value because of injury risk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what the hell does all of this mean for the MLB? Are we going to start seeing moves now? Or are we going to wait it out a lot more? We're going to test the market value? Like, what's going on?
I think based on what's been happening, especially with some of these non-tenders, like Eddie Rosario really stands out to me. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to at least be, this is my projection, at least another week before anything, maybe even 2 weeks, because what do you even do with I think everyone's still trying to figure out their money situation, and they need to figure it out first before they decide to jump into any sort of big time contract with a Bauer or a Springer. So,
well, it doesn't help that Bauer is, jerking us all off, posting photos of himself with all the baseball hats. I'm going to sign with, you're not going to sign with anyone, pal, if you keep that up, all right?
Can you imagine? There's like, this guy's a dick.
Yeah, MLB's just like, fuck this. No one's getting him. Everyone just like
blacklist this man. Like,
the New York Yankees never, dude. They'd be like, totally, we're gonna blacklist. Hey, Bauer, how's it going?
Seriously. My God. Well, no offense, Bauer, but don't take any of this personally. We're just joking. We still want you to play over in Toronto.
Don't get me wrong. You can still come play for us.
Yeah, come play with us. We were literally talking last night how what signing would be what would make us freak out the freaking most, and it's like Bauer. I would be clear. Jumping.
It's so completely clear. It would make our path to a World Series contender so clear. It would. I see it now. I see it, and it's like a season away. We have a season with Bauer. We have a season with Rio. Everyone comes together. This 2021 year, we have a couple more breakout bats, and in 2022, we are right up there as a top 5 contender. I see it clearly.
Yep. It's so clear. Rather than when we don't get them, it's like, now we gotta hope someone hits.
Yeah, it's like we have to. It's all about the pitching. We got to get the pitching because when it comes down to those games where we're battling with the New York Yankees, we're battling with some of these other teams in the playoffs, and it's 3, 4, 5 games. You got to have guys on that mound who are gonna give you 6 innings, who are gonna K the crap out of that team, and who are gonna put them in their place.
Yeah, you hope they give them 6 innings.
Montoya, we don't know.
We don't know.
We're not sure.
But yeah, so that, guys, is all the not all of them, but some of the notable names for you guys to notice in this off season. Who are these guys going to go with? We don't know. I hope that in like 2 weeks' time that we see something. Please, thank you. Please, just do it.
Would be nice.
Just do it, please.
Would be very nice. Guys, make sure to check us out on Spotify, Breaker, Anchor, Radio Public, and Google Podcasts. Also, please make sure to check out our Instagram. We're always popping off on there, as always. Patreon, check it out. And subscribe. Hit the notification button and comment down below.
Yes, thank you guys so much for watching.
Go Jays, go.